Hello. Today is my 50th birthday. Yes, November 23rd, 1962 is when I was born. And that's a long, long time ago. It is a really long time ago. In fact, whenever I have to say my date of birth now, it just sounds like, oh my God. 1962. Actually, anything with a 19 in front of it sounds like a long time ago. Because technically, it is a long time ago. You know? I remember the big scare when we rolled our clocks to the year 2000, and the big scare that they had about how the computers were going to deal. There was this fear that all the computers would just crash, you know. Anyway, what did I want to talk about today? Today, on my birthday, I have to actually apologize before I say anything more. I don't have my contacts on. My eyes have been really bothering me since I went to these bifocal contacts, and so I wear my glasses more, and right now I'm having a hot flash, so I don't want to wear my glasses because it's disgusting. It's gross to feel sweaty, you know, and have glasses on. So I am blinder than a bat. I'm looking at the camera and I am blinder than a bat. So I have absolutely no idea what I look like. This will be interesting. But what did I want to talk about on my 50th birthday? Isn't this depressing? I want to talk about death. Yeah, you know, our constant companion. And in a way, that's what it is. It's our constant companion. And I think what I really, if I could give advice to younger people, which at my age, that's like half the population in the world is younger. Actually, probably more than half. I think the older you get, the less, well, the chances of people living to 50, you know, a lot of people drop off. There's people who were alive that graduated the same year I did in 1981 who aren't alive anymore for whatever reason. It's just the way it is. But yes, if I could give advice to younger people, one piece of advice, my piece of advice would be, don't obsess about death. See, I did. It's like you go through this. You're young and you don't feel like death is far away, and you don't think about it. You feel like you're immortal. You can do anything, and that's great. That's a great time in your life. Then you get into your 20s and you start to, even in your 20s, you start to notice differences, and it starts to dawn on you that you're not going to be here around forever after all. You thought you were. You know, everybody likes to think they're the one exception to the rule, and they're just not going to ever get old and die. I know I did. Oh my God, I never thought I'd be sitting here saying, oh, I'm 50 years old today. 50 years old? Hello? I remember when I used to think if you're 40, you're dead. You might as well be dead. That's ancient. 40 is ancient. In fact, I remember once thinking, one of my mom's friends said to me, yeah, well, 25 years ago when I was da-da-da-da-da, and I remember thinking to myself, you know, you're old when you can say, 25 years ago I was blank, blank, blank. Well, 25 years ago, I was 25. So I am definitely in the I am old club. But when I was in my early 20s, for me it started in my teens, in my late teens, early 20s. When I wasn't thinking about something else, I was thinking about death. I was thinking about death. And I don't mean suicide, because that's a different story. That's a symptom of an illness. But just death in general, I was afraid of it. I was afraid of the very idea of it. I was afraid of the idea of being helplessly caught by a force that you can't control. and feeling your body shut down. And it just terrified me, you know, feeling the loss of your own life, feeling the heartbeat slowing or whatever, and struggling for each breath. That whole idea scared me to death, you know. And what a waste of the time that I spent thinking about death. What a waste that was. And that's why I'm saying it's a waste. It's a huge waste of your life. 20s, your early 20s, that, oh my God, that is the best. That is his best. That is his best. That is, you're in your prime, baby. I mean, that, enjoy it. Live it. Yes, be careful, because you can die, but oh my God, just don't waste your time thinking about something you have no control over. That's what I finally realized. It's like, you know what? I'm thinking about death all the time. Is it going to stop it from happening? No, it's not. Is it going to slow it down? Is it going to delay it 1 minute? No, it isn't. I had a friend, Lisa Sutherland, really sweet young girl. This is when I was in junior high. And back then I was part of Job's Daughters. And one weekend we went up to the mountains to go inner tubing. I didn't go. I don't remember why, but I didn't go. And I got a phone call that evening from one of the girls' mothers telling me that Lisa Sutherland had died. She was 14 years old. She had died inner tubing up in the mountains. She hit a tree and was impaled on a branch. 14 years old. And she was probably, of the girls in that organization that I knew, she was probably the most grown up of all of us. I remember one time we were at her house, and I was feeling invisible by the other girls because, you know, I didn't fit in when I was younger. I was one of those kids that I had just one parent, and I didn't dress as nicely as other kids because my mom didn't have the money, and yada yada yada. And I was at their house, and I just remember we left Lisa's bedroom, and I was still in the bedroom, and the other girls had left. And Lisa turned to me and she said, you know, none of this is going to matter in 20 years. You know, she was trivializing the way I was being treated, and the way it was hurting my feelings. She was putting it into perspective for me, that, you know, this is nothing in the big picture. So when she died, it's like, why did she have to be the one, you know? But anyway, the point of the story is always there. You don't know when it's going to come. You have no idea how it's going to come, or what mistake you make, or what road you take, or what turn in the road. You don't know. I ride a motorcycle, and I think about death when I ride sometimes. And then I like shrug it off because, you know, I'm too busy living right now to think about you, Mr. Death. I'm too busy enjoying my life. And that's just the thing that I think finally dawned on me after I had whittled away probably a good 10 years obsessing and worrying about death. You know, we only have one life, and you're wasting your life when you think about death. Every second you spend worrying about death, you're wasting your life. You know? It doesn't change anything. It's not going to stop it. So why worry about it? Why obsess about it? I think of death as a constant companion. When the time gets too tough and it gets beyond bearing, that's when death will take you. And it's an exit door. It's an escape. And I'm not talking about suicide. I'm just talking about when you're sick or you're hurt so much and you hurt and it's beyond bearing. Death is the release. It comes and it takes you away. Living with birds, I have learned a lot about death. I've learned a lot about life too. Turn the lights on and the birds switch on. And they sing and they fly and they live very hard. And they live very fast. And then one day you find one of them at the bottom of the cage dead. They also die very hard. It's hard to find a sick bird. Usually they live until they die. I mean, sometimes you'll find a sick bird and you nurse it back to health, but a lot of times they try to hide that they're sick because that's how they are hardwired for nature. Because a sick bird in the wild is a dead bird. So one day there's one at the bottom of the cage dead, like my little lovebird Sissy was dead. And it's sad. I feel sad when I find an animal that's dead. I feel sad. But that animal is dead. It's like it doesn't exist anymore. It just doesn't exist. And so I dispose of its little body and I move on because it's just a part of nature. Death is a part of nature. And people have this fear of not existing. Oh, I can't believe that, I have to believe that there's a God. I have to believe there's a heaven because I just can't bear the idea of not existing. It's like, not existing is not existing. You would not be here to regret anything. You would just not be here. You would not exist. Think about before you were born, were you aware of anything at all? Were you aware of the Roman Empire's rise and fall? Were you aware of the first modern man as he came across the land bridge to this continent? We think about all the history of humankind, all this history that came before you were born. Were you aware of it? I wasn't aware of Kennedy's assassination. I wasn't aware of World War II. I wasn't aware of all these things that happened before I was born because I didn't exist yet. And after I die, there's going to be more things that happen that I'm not going to be aware of because I'll not exist anymore. And that doesn't bother me. It does not bother me. And I think this whole attitude that humans have about, oh, more is better, more is better. We want to extend our lives. We want to live forever. Or the religious who think that they, if they do this and this and this right, they're going to get to live forever in heaven, eternal life. Why is that so important? Why do we have to live forever? Why is enough never enough? And why is, no matter what it is, it's never enough, right? No matter how old we get, it's never enough. We still want more. We still want more life. My thought is, if we all lived forever, it would be one really overcrowded world. It's like, okay, we all get our shot, and then we need to step aside and make room for the new people. Like, I feel sad for when I see celebrities that I think are really beautiful, that they're like me, they're getting older, and they're not so beautiful anymore. At least for me, it wasn't such a loss, but some people really are truly and genuinely beautiful, and it's sad to see them getting older. But then, you know what? There's a whole new generation of beauties coming up, and it's their turn. It's their turn. There'll always be beautiful people. Hopefully there'll always be beauty. And it's sad when the old beauty fades, but there'll always be beauty. And I personally think that people like myself who aren't gorgeous, we're necessary too. We're important too. We matter. First of all, there's more There's more than just superficial beauty, and the kind of beauty that lasts your whole life is really the most important beauty of all. But if we were all gorgeous, gorgeous would be ordinary. If we were all gorgeous, it would be boring. Nobody would, oh, there's another beautiful face, whatever. You know? We jazz it up a bit. People who are average, you know, I don't like to say it like that, but in a way it's true. If we were all beautiful, we wouldn't appreciate beauty so much. You know, we wouldn't, it would just be ordinary. Beautiful would be ordinary. We would be, boring. Anyway, so I guess that's my advice. Just don't waste your life thinking about death. Because, why? And I feel sorry for religious people that waste their life looking forward to death, looking forward to this wonderful place called heaven and this eternal life that they're going to have when they die. I think that's sad, because living to die, what a concept, you know? Live to live. Be like the birds. Wake up in the morning. You're full of it, and you're ready to go, and you're gonna live hard all day, and then you're gonna go to sleep, and you're not gonna think about death, because that's just something that happens when you're done. You know, it's just like turning out the lights or turning off the camera, which I'm gonna do right now. So here's a simulation of death. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3.